Hi there, it's Mrs. Ferris from Wood Library, and I'm ready for some stories. Are you? Today our theme is books and libraries. Isn't that right? Right. So let's get started with our first book, which is called The Library Book. This is written by Tom Chapin and Michael Mark. It's illustrated by Chuck Gronick and published by Atheneum Books. Saturday morning, and the rain is pouring. Dad worked late last night. He's in there snoring. Same old stuff on TV, boring. So what if I can't go out and play? I know what I'll do today. I'm going down to the library, picking out a book, check it in, check it out. Gonna say hi to the dictionary, picking out a book, check it in, check it out. Now I like books, and they like me, so when I go to the library, I sit down in my favorite chair and check to see who's there. Maybe one book, maybe two. Take me home, says Winnie the Pooh. And if we have to travel far, I'll bring along my honey jar. Oh, I'm going down to the library, picking out a book, check it in, check it out. Gonna say hi to the dictionary, picking out a book, check it in, check it out. Sleeping Beauty yawned and said, "How come when I get out of bed?" But Madeline says, "Let her nap," and jumps right up into my lap. The Cat in the Hat says, "Hey, I'll go." "Don't take him," cries Pinocchio. "Don't take that cat to your address. He always makes a mess." Oh, I'm going down to the library, picking out a book, check it in, check it out. Gonna say hi to the dictionary, picking out a book, check it in, check it out. Mrs. Parker's back behind the checkout desk today. The Cheshire Cat jumps on her head and says, "Hey, let's play." Mrs. P says, "Goodness, are you sure you want all of these?" "Oh, yes," we shout together, and she says, "Shh, quiet, please." So I'm going down to the library, picking out a book, check it in, check it out. Gonna say hi to the dictionary, picking out a book, check it in, check it out. The 7 dwarfs begin to shout, "Say, take us with you, check us out." Then Cinderella in her gown, and Babar, why, he comes to grab his crown. Then Curious George swings from the shelf, and along comes Mother Goose herself. Out the door we danced and sang, the whole library, well, it rang. Oh, I'm going down to the library, picking out a book, check it in, check it out. Gonna say hi to the dictionary, picking out a book, check it in, check it out. I'm going down to the Do you know what she said to the librarian? She said, picking out a book, check it in, check it out. And that's my favorite thing to do after I get home from the library, is to get right down and read my book. All right, shall we do a finger play? Okay, which one would you like to do? I remember there was Curious George in that book, so do you think we could do one of our monkey ones? Which one should we do? The one about them up in the tree. Get your 5 monkeys ready and get Mr. Crocodile ready too. 5 little monkeys were swinging in the tree, teasing Mr. Crocodile, you can't catch me. Along comes Mr. Crocodile, as hungry as can be, and he goes snap! So hide one of your monkeys. 4 little monkeys are swinging in the tree, teasing Mr. Crocodile, you can't catch me. Along comes Mr. Crocodile, as hungry as can be, and he goes snap! So hide another one. 3 little monkeys are swinging in the tree, teasing Mr. Crocodile, you can't catch me. Along comes Mr. Crocodile, as hungry as can be, and he goes snap! That means 2 little monkeys are swinging in the tree, teasing Mr. Crocodile, you can't catch me. Along comes Mr. Crocodile, as hungry as can be, and he goes snap! 1 little monkey is swinging in the tree, teasing Mr. Crocodile, you can't catch me. Along comes Mr. Crocodile, as hungry as can be, and he goes snap! So how many are left? None. No little monkeys are swinging in the tree. I'd better watch out so he won't catch me. Well, this is a story called The Midnight Library. The Midnight Library? Does that mean what's happening at the library late at night? We'll have to read it and find out. This is written by Kazuno Kohara and illustrated by her too, and it's published by Roaring Brook Press. I see stars and the moon. Once there was a library that opened only at night. The little librarian worked there with her 3 assistant owls. Every night, animals came to the library from all over town, and the little librarian and her 3 assistant owls helped each and every one find the perfect book. The library was always busy, but it was also peaceful and quiet until one night when bang, crash, toot! A band of squirrels began to play music. Oh, shh, said the little librarian. Please be quiet in the reading room. We're sorry, said the squirrels, but we're trying to find a good song for our next concert. Then follow me, said the little librarian, and she showed the squirrels the activity room upstairs. Silence settled upon the library once more while the band played their instruments as loud as they liked. Later that night, the little librarian was busy putting books away when suddenly it started to rain. Oh dear, said the little librarian, there must be a hole in the roof. But sitting up on top of a bookshelf, she found a wolf. And she was crying so much her tears fell like rain. What is the matter, Miss Wolf? Asked the little librarian. Something very sad happened in my story, and I can't read it anymore, replied the wolf. Please don't cry, said the little librarian, and she took Miss Wolf to the storytelling corner. They read the book together until gradually the wolf began to smile. The librarian and her assistants knew the story had a very happy ending. Ding, ding. The bell rang out as the sun came up. It was time for everyone to go home. One by one, the animals left the midnight library, all except one new visitor. A tortoise reading slowly in the corner, and he would not move. I must stay until I finish reading this book, said the tortoise. I only have 500 pages to go. Let us make you a library card, said the little librarian. Then you can borrow this book and take it home with you. How wonderful, said the tortoise. And how lucky I am. Goodbye, Mr. Tortoise. Have a good day. See, he's got his book tied on his back. The three owls and the little librarian gave the empty library a good dust and a sweep. And then finally, it was time to find one last book. A very special book. A book of bedtime stories for 3 sleepy owls. Sleep tight. And they did. That's nice. I think I'd like to go to that library. Well, what kind of finger play would you like to do now? Shall we wiggle our fingers? Can you wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes and wiggle your shoulders? And how about your nose? Can you wiggle your elbows and slap your knees and stretch your arms out and say, another book, please? And this book is called Bunnies Book Club. Do any of you belong to a book club where you get together and talk about books with your friends? This is written by Silvestro and published by Tatiana Maiwas. And this book is published by Doubleday Books for young readers. Bunny, do you see him there? Bunny loved books. He loved them ever since he first heard the lady with the red glasses reading outside aloud at the library. And as he listened, Bunny imagined himself climbing mountains, captaining a ship, ruling a kingdom. But when summer ended, Storytime moved back inside, and Bunny wasn't sure if animals were allowed in the library. But Bunny was sure he couldn't live without books. So night after night, he could hardly sleep for wishing. Oh, he had to do something. So with a flashlight in his paw and hope in his heart, Bunny jumped out of bed and tiptoed through the dark. But when he reached the library door, it was locked. And so were the windows. So Bunny tried, digging and climbing and yanking, but nothing worked. Until finally he noticed the book return. The shiny handle was far above his head, but it was no match for a high-hopping bunny hungry for books. He leaped, he clung to the bar and flung himself over and wriggled his cottontail through the slot and landed with a thump or thud. Bunny's eyes sparkled at the sight of the shelves bursting with books. It was better than a field full of French crunchy carrots. Do you like fresh carrots? He does, but he likes books more. Bunny didn't know where to start. He took a deep breath. Oh, it smelled as if he were wrapped inside the pages of his favorite book. He followed his nose to an adventure section, and there he found stories about swashbucklers. Those are pirates. And sharks. You know about those. And superheroes. Bunny greedily grabbed them all. His whiskers twitching with excitement, he slipped his treasures through the book slot one by one. Usually people are putting them through this way, but he's sending them outside. Then, performing his best balancing act, Bunny wobbled home. He couldn't wait to dig in. And so Bunny returned each night to the library. He searched and sneaked and then scurried back to read. Soon his home was more books than burrow. One evening, there was a loud knock that startled Bunny. He closed his book and opened the door. "Where have you been?" asked Porcupine. "Reading," said Bunny. "Why?" asked Porcupine. Bunny's eyes popped open wide. "Why?" he sputtered. "Have you ever been to the library?" Well, it was time for Bunny to let Porcupine in on his secret. "Are you sure this is a good idea?" said Porcupine as Bunny pushed him through the book slot. "Calm your quills," said Bunny. "I'm too prickly, though. I'll never fit," cried Porcupine. But Bunny pushed and shoved until pop went the porcupine. Bunny slipped in and flipped on his flashlight. "Whoa," said Porcupine. "I know," said Bunny. "Do you think there's a story about balloons?" "I've always wondered about balloons." "Most definitely," said Bunny. And sure enough, Porcupine found a book about balloons, and a book about deserts and dunes and caterpillars and cocoons. And when Bunny handed him one about hedgehogs, oh, he just hugged it. The two friends took turns cramming books out the slot. Their towers teetered so high they could barely carry them. Back at Bunny's, they cozied up with cups of tea and carrot muffins, and together they read until sunrise. Now one night, Bear noticed the light on Bunny's house, and he opened the door and tripped over a stack of books. "What's going on here?" asked Bear. "Oh, here," said Bunny, handing him a book. Well, Bear made room and settled in to read. Soon more curious animals began visiting. "Do you have any books about outer space?" asked Bird. "Or about volcanoes?" asked Mole. "I'd like a ghost story," said Mouse. "I think it's time for a field trip," said Bunny. One by one, the animals stuffed themselves inside the library. Bear caused a bit of a delay because he was so big. They scattered about, sniffing the stacks. That's what they call the bookshelves. Pawing over pages. Squirrel gathered stories about the circus. Raccoon grabbed one about outlaws and bandits. Frog found a fairy tale. No one heard the key in the front door. No one heard the clack, clack, clack of footsteps. No one heard the light flick on. "What have we here?" said the librarian. The animals looked up in shock. Bunny gasped. Porcupine gaped. And Bear groaned. "Follow me," she said, and the animals marched slowly behind her. "We're done for," whispered Porcupine. "All libraries have rules," said the librarian sternly. Bunny's whiskers trembled. Porcupine's back bristled. Bear eyed the door. Bunny stepped forward to take the blame. The librarian leaned down and said, "The first rule is that every book lover must have one of these." And she handed Bunny and his friends shiny new library cards. "Now you may borrow books," she said, smiling, "as long as you return them, of course." Bunny couldn't believe his ears. They could keep coming to the library. He beamed at his fellow readers and then bounced to the shelves. He picked the perfect book and he proudly checked out the very first official selection for, do you remember the name of this book? Bunnies Book Club. I bet that would be a fun place to visit, don't you? Well, let's see here. I think we could do another finger play. Here is a bunny with his ears so funny, and here's his hole in the ground. Why, when a noise he hears, he pricks up his ears and he hops in his hole with a bound. I should have showed you how to make that hole by bringing your fingers around to touch your thumb. There's the hole. Let's do that again. Here is a bunny with his ears so funny, and here's his hole in the ground. When a noise he hears, why, he pricks up his ears and he hops in his hole with a bound. Well, I think we're going to have just one more book. It's kind of a silly one, but it's one of my favorite books about books. And it's called Book, Book, Book. It's written by Deborah Bruss and illustrated by Tiffany Beek. And it's published by Arthur A. Levine. Down on the farm, all was well until the children went back to school, and the animals had nothing to do. They had no rides to share, no tug of war to play, no one to scratch behind their ears or ruffle their feathers. In the bright morning sun, the horse hung his head. The cow complained. The goat grumbled. The pig pouted. The duck dozed off, and the hen heaved a sigh. You all sigh along with the hen. Well, long about noon, with the sun high above the barnyard, the hen squawked, "I'm bored, and I'm heading to town to find something to do." The animals followed her down the road. Can anybody read that sign? Maybe if your mom or dad or someone big is nearby who can read, they could tell you what that word is. But in case they're not there, I guess I could tell you. That word is library, and the arrow is pointing this way, so let's turn the page. "Look," clucked the hen. "Happy faces. This must be the place we're looking for. I'll go in and see if I can find something to do." "Nee, nee," whinnied the horse. "You're too small for such a big job. Leave it to me." So the horse clip-clopped in, and politely he asked for something to do. But the librarian could not understand the horse. All she heard was, "Nee, nee." So the horse hung his head and clip-clopped out. Next, the cow plodded in, and politely she asked for something to do. But the librarian could not understand the cow. All she heard was, can you guess? "Moo, moo." So the cow complained and plodded out. That means walked with very heavy steps. Now it was the goat's turn, and he trotted in. Politely he asked for something to do. But the librarian could not understand the goat. All she heard was "Bah, bah." So the goat grumbled and trotted out again. Slowly, the pig ambled into the library, and politely she asked for something to do. But all the librarian heard was oink, oink. So the pig ambled out to tell her friends. Well, up flapped the hen, and she announced, "I am going in, and no one's going to stop me." So into the library she flapped. "Bark!" clucked the hen politely. The librarian looked around and said, "What's that noise?" "Bark, bark!" clucked the hen. The librarian scratched her head. "Who's that?" she asked. "Bark, bark, bark!" clucked the hen quite clearly. "Oh, is that what you want?" asked the librarian, and she handed the hen 3 books. And then they all went back to the farm. Now back at the farm, the horse, the cow, the goat, the pig, the duck, and the hen gathered around the books. The barnyard was filled with neighs and moos and baas and oink and quacks and buck, buck, bucks. And their sounds of delight lasted until the sun went down. And all the animals were happy, except for the bullfrog. And do you know what he said? "I already read it. All right, well, shall we have something on the flannel board? We're going to have a game about colors today. Well, I went to the library, and what did I see? I saw a red book waiting for me. I went to the library, and what did I see? I saw a blue book waiting for me. I went to the library, and what did I see? I saw a brown book waiting for me. I went to the library, and what did I see? I saw a white book waiting for me. I went to the library, and what did I see? I saw a pink book waiting for me. I went to the library, and what did I see? I saw a purple book waiting for me. I went to the library, and what did I see? I saw a yellow book waiting for me. I went to the library, and what did I see? I saw a tan book looking at me, waiting for me. I went to the library, and what did I see? I saw an orange book waiting for me. I went to the library, and what did I see? I saw a green book waiting for me. I went to the library, and what did I see? I saw a black book waiting for me. I went to the library, and what did I see? I saw a gold book waiting for me. I went to the library, and what did I see? I saw lots of books, all just for me and you. Those are our stories about books and libraries today. I hope you'll come and check out your local library wherever you are. And thank you for joining me for some stories about books. Bye.